Welcome to a special holiday edition of Turn Up Beardown. It is Christmas Eve as we're filming this because we don't take days off.
Nope.
Welcome, Matt Jansen.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Excited to have a nice little family centric night. You'll notice I'll say centric a lot today, but it's a quality term.
Yeah,
Family centric night and opening some stockings and
Mm,
old dad getting into the old eggnog.
yeah, for sure, for sure. It's gonna be a good Christmas. I'm really excited. We're
What are you
we're
doing today? What are you doing today, Jameis? You doing anything in specific?
going to 3:30 church, a little candlelight service.
Love it.
Going over the in-laws tonight. We're getting up early to open up some stuff around 6 a.m. is what I've been told.
Nice.
And then we're going to my parents, and then we're going to celebrate our own Christmas. Actually, we're just taking the day by day. We're going to celebrate Christmas with each other the day after because there's going to be
Nice.
so many things going on. And then we're
Love it.
doing
Love it.
with my
Yeah,
sister and brother on the 28th. So we're really spreading Christmas out for the next like 4 or 5 days.
that's how you do it.
Getting the most out of it. So, and wedging a Bears game in between all that, and yeah, excited to see what happens on Saturday before we even play. Because if the 49ers are able to beat the Cards, then that'll make me pretty happy going into our game on Sunday. So let's go ahead and get into the
That'd be the
game.
ultimate treat, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a dream scenario because we don't feel the pressure of playing the
Mm.
Jags.
Mm-mm.
Even if to win, we got to make the
Yeah.
playoffs. I do think if somehow the 49ers listen, my prediction is I think the 49ers lose. They play them tough, they lose, and then I think they go down to the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals I think they lose to the Rams last week, and I think if we get there, if we're able to win, I think that's our way in is week 17. But I'll take it earlier than later. So
There's a crazy scenario that I saw and can't believe. And we'll go ahead and transition into our trivia as I'm getting through this. But I saw a stat: if the Rams lose out, the Cardinals lose one of two, and the Buccaneers lose the next two, and we win the next two. So I know that's a ton of things that have to happen. But let's say those four teams end up being 9-7, we would be the 5 seed in the playoffs.
that is honestly, would have been huge for us. I was rooting more for the Buccaneers to lose to the Falcons
Me
down
too.
17-0, just because I know we have that tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And they had them. You're beating Tom Brady 17-0. I mean,
24-7 in the third with about 5 left, I want to say is what I saw in the screenshot.
And isn't it funny that remember what happened in the Super Bowl? Again, Matt.
Yeah. It's
again.
just the
That dude needs to
Falcons.
be slayed, dude. He's got to go somewhere.
The Falcons are a problem. They're a problem. So, do you have any good trivia questions for me?
I do. It's an actual 3-parter. The first one is about the ex-Bear turned journeyman Mike Glennon, and I just wanted to know what is his career record as a starter.
Oh, that's an easy one. He was 1-3 with the Bears. I just saw that actually. I'm not looking at my phone right now either. But he was 1-3 with the Bears. I'm gonna say when Lovey turned to him because I think Lovey was his coach in Tampa Bay. I think he won one game, so that'd be 2-3, but he probably lost like 4, and then he's lost like 3 in a row. So let's say 2-9.
Not bad. He's got more games started than you give him credit for. He is 6-19 in his career as a starter. 6-19. Not though. You got one of my. It was a 3-parter. As a Bear, you're correct. He was 1-3, 6-19 as in a career.
Oof.
Third one, probably most importantly, if you had to pick an animal that describes what Mike Glennon's neck looks like, what are you going with?
I think you called him the turkey neck last week, but is that accurate or is ostrich more accurate?
I think it's fairly long and skinny, so I would go ostrich on that. Yeah. I think that's better comp.
It should allow him to read defenses better, right?
Dude, he should. Yeah, he's like in a lighthouse 24/7. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't get much easier than that. You should be looking down on people.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and move
numbers
on.
on their back.
Oh, we got some studio guest stars today. So, hey, week 16 though, Bears versus Jags. When you saw this game come out on the schedule, you would have thought this would be a win. But here we are in week 16, and if we can't beat the team that is currently projected to be the first pick, then it's gonna be tough. So, but what are they? 1-13? Yeah, because we have 2 left. They're 1-13. We're 7-7. This should be one that we can win. If we don't win it, in fact, it's just gonna be an easy, like, okay, our season's officially over if we lose this one. But
we're eliminated if we lose, and especially if Arizona wins.
Rightfully so.
So honestly, I mean, there's some days where I wish we were in their position, 1-13. We'd definitely be in on either the top 2 players in the draft because they're guaranteed that. And I mean, I don't know. If you lose to a team like Jacksonville, I know that really you're saying Nagy and Pace and Trubisky, even they're playing for their job right now. Playoffs are bust, and so you probably can reaffirm that you need to blow it up totally, whether that be with Trubisky or not. But
it would be fun to actually. Weather's really nice in Florida this time of year. Go to Jacksonville and actually catch this game. But probably neither of us can do that right now. So
we cannot. That should have been on the docket for earlier in the year. Maybe we could have. I don't know. It's always tough around Christmas to get to travel or get away. But we definitely need to look into possibly going to a road game a year if we're going to continue to do this.
Right.
Maybe we could obviously shooting this live, in the parking lot tailgating with some Bears fans.
Yeah.
That needs to be the next chapter of this saga.
For sure. All right. So let's talk about some players. So with the injury report, we really aren't sure if all of these guys are going to play or what's going to happen. But my projection is that Minshew is going to play. If James Robinson doesn't play, it would be good for us, but it would also be kind of a bummer just in the whole scheme of trying to sell the game. Also, DJ Chark, he's on my fantasy team in like all 3 leagues. He had an up and down season for the most part, but he performed okay. And then let's talk about our guys. So this is the Allen Robinson revenge game, right?
Gotta be.
Because he's going against his former team. A great chance to really show, hey, look what I left here. David Montgomery, hopefully to continue to see big things out of him. I've seen tons of stats about how in the last like 3 or 4 weeks he's been one of the top running backs. I think he's been the top running back in fantasy football the last 4 weeks, I want to say.
Right when I needed it when I'm not in the playoffs.
Right. And then Raquan Smith getting that Pro Bowl snub. We don't know how he didn't make the Pro Bowl with the stats.
That's a big snub.
Yeah. So what do you think of these guys we have listed on here?
Man, DJ Chark has been up and down. He really had a breakout year last year. I think the James Robinson injury is the big wild card this week because if you don't have to worry about his running presence and what in the short passing game, if you don't have to worry about that so much, then it becomes a little bit easier to slow down that offense, which is at times has been a little bit explosive.
Mm-hmm.
They've hung in there with a lot of teams. I know they're 1-13, but they've played several teams very well, just haven't been able to capitalize down the stretch. So,
for sure,
I do think this game could be a grind. I know we've scored a lot of points recently. Theoretically on paper, our defense should be able to hold them. To no more than 2 scores, maybe 7. We should be able to keep them under 20. And the way our offense has been going, considering what their defense looks like, where it ranks, which is obviously in the bottom 5 in a lot of categories, you'd think we'd be all right. Allen Robinson has got 90 catches for 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's what if he was on I would say if he would have got up to a little faster start, he'd probably be on pace to break a few records. What did Marshall catch? How many was it? 121 or was it 114?
I don't know. I should probably know that.
Single season catches, isn't it? In a season, it's got to be.
Mm-hmm.
Montgomery, obviously, like the offense just has to be ran through David Montgomery. It has to be MC Montgomery-centric offense. It's got to be a Montgomery-centric offense.
For sure.
And again, he's ran the ball well. we're going to miss Cordero if he doesn't play, but I do think that if he doesn't play, that means Montgomery's going to touch the ball more on runs, and I like that. That's what I want.
And don't forget about the favorite, Ryan Knoll, making a couple appearances if that happens.
So, he did, and we signed Spencer Ware this week. So
I saw that. That might not be a bad pickup.
I mean, I don't think so at all. If you're talking about maybe like your third running back depth chart wise, for him to come in and get some snaps. He's got plenty of experience. He's got more than the other two. So
I'm kind of confused that Lamar Miller never made it really. I don't know what was going on there. If he just didn't fit the system.
His window's gone as far as being a super productive running back, I think. I mean, it's gone. And at this point, you just needed him for that, to dress. Because he got a carry. Didn't he even get the first carry of the game?
I don't know. I don't think I got to see that game, actually.
I think the carry of the game in the Vikings game.
Yeah, I missed that.
And, just kind of touching on before we kind of move on to the next slide is, yes, Roquan Smith should be in the Pro Bowl. I really am looking forward to – I'd like to see him and Danny Trevathan blitz a little bit. They've had success blitzing the quarterback in the past. And just with the fact that Gardner Minshew or Mike Glennon, either way, they're not super mobile. And if you can speed their clock up, man, they'll throw a lot of picks. So I would really see us bring some pressure packages and really try to get after them and set the tone with some turnovers and maybe some defensive and defensive on the plus side. So those are a couple of my areas, especially with just our two linebackers and a 3-4 is getting up in the face of those either quarterback. And just kind of creating some havoc that way, I think would be a huge key for us moving forward.
I think that, well, just kind of going back to history. So there's been the last two games. One was in 2016, one was in 2012. That 2012 team was the team that should have probably made the playoffs, started out 7-1. The Jags were one of the teams we annihilated on the way to 7-1. We beat them 41-3. But I was looking back through that game, and it was actually pretty close. It was like 10-3 or something like that at halftime. And then in the second half, man, I'm struggling. He was from Mizzou. One of the what?
Raji needs to bring you a coffee.
No,
from Mizzou.
Yeah, he was from Mizzou after Chase Daniel. He played for the San Francisco for a little while. He actually beat us with them. Blaine Gabbert. He had a terrible game, threw a lot of picks. There were like multiple pick sixes. Brandon Marshall had a big day. We beat him 41-3. And that was the last time we were in Jacksonville. So 8 years later, I'm hoping for more of the same. I hope this is one of those games where the defense just really takes over, gets a lot of turnovers, and that translates to easy points for the offense. Run it well with Montgomery. If they do those things, I really feel like this should be our game. So some things I'm looking for. There's Cutler from that game I was referring to. Score early and often, because if you're favored, I feel like we're hardly ever favored anymore. But definitely a game where a team has one win. We should be the favorite. Yeah, we should score early and often this one and try to get way out in front, and hopefully that will just kind of crush the spirits of the Jaguars players for winning. Continue to feed Montgomery, especially if you have a lead, and force those turnovers. And then for the Jags, it's easy. Just hang around, play hard, play inspired. Nothing easy on defense, so don't give Montgomery an 80-yard run on the first play. And if they can run the ball well, I don't know who's going to be playing running back for them. If James Robinson has a Christmas miracle and plays, then by all means just run through him and really let Minshew do enough to win this game. But these are things I'm looking for from this game as to how each team can win. I do like us a lot in this game. I think most people would say the same because it is the Jags. But that being said, I am a little bit nervous because of the fact that this game should be so easy, and also because of what the Jets did to the Rams last week.
So 2020 Bears right here. Anything can happen.
Right.
Games we should have won, we haven't. And games we don't belong in, we have snuck away with. So I like all these points, scoring early often. I told you, I think this is a team that doesn't have anything to play for, but they're not exactly playing super inspired. So I think if you get out early, you can put this team away and kind of allow for a vanilla safe second half. I will say, like, I do think that we need to take I think that the play action game has been very effective with Mitch and Laser and what they're doing.
Yes,
But I would like to see us take more shots down the field if they're there. Not Mitch against the Packers throwing it with triple or double coverage. Take your shot if it's there. But I would like to see Mooney. I'd like to see even Miller, even though I don't think he's terrific running go routes. But I would like to take more shots because I think what we got going is we got this motion coming across the field in the play action game, and you got to come in kind of west to east or east to west sideways. And I think Jacksonville's going to see what we've been doing a few weeks and kind of cheat up and kind of take that stuff away. And I think the back end is going to be a little bit vulnerable. So look at Trubisky taking a few shots this week. I got faith that he's going to do his homework and again just continue to get Mooney the ball, continue to feed A-Rob. He's reliable, guys got some of the best hands I think in the entire NFL. And again, Komet and Graham. I mean Komet had more of an impact. He had more catches. He had more targets. Yep. But you can use both of them in the passing game, and I love it. Montgomery. The only thing I would say is I know that we really like using those stretch runs with our running system. But I would really like to see a little bit more creativity of getting after he's got 10, 12 carries, kind of kind of reformatting and not just going back to the well with stretch, dive. I would really like to see us get more creative in the second half of our running a game and approach, kind of there down in the second half, third, fourth quarter, just to continue to try to get him some different looks and create different looks for defenses. I loved how Duke Shelley and Kendall Vildor played last week. I gave them a B- on their their NFL debut, so to speak, as starters, and I do think this is kind of good that we're getting their feet wet right now. Against an offense that isn't going to kill us per se, with some rookie inexperience, kind of, guys that are on the shorter end. They're both 5'9", 5'10". So it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. We obviously want Jalen Johnson back if we make the playoffs or next week against Green Bay. But it's nice to get like them, some experience because I think one of them could be our slot corner. Buster Screen ain't it. Buster Screen can have a concussion the rest of the year. I'm sorry I said it, but he's not helping us on defense. He's not helping us. Okay, so he can just protect his brain. Maybe we'll send him back to the Jets for nothing. Yeah. And I like that these young corners are getting some work in. I think it's going to be beneficial to their development. And yeah, man, like I said, we have to come out and punch them in the mouth. This game cannot be a back and forth slugfest.
Yeah, and with that being said, for me, I just put up 21-17. Thought about changing it, but I just think that with this game should be an easy win for sure, but I'm just cautious as a Bears fan, and especially like a game like this where you should win this game for sure. It should be a no doubter.
We're only putting 21 up.
I don't know. I guess so.
Like you've been around that number all year. That is Scott's safe zone right there.
That is my safe zone. I almost put it up to 23, and then I took it down to 21. Actually, I started.
Can we get the difference between your picks and how many points the Bears have actually scored in the last 3 weeks, and then you have to do like Santa push-ups, or something?
Oh my gosh. No, I don't think I'm going to do that.
Shoot a shot. You don't think this defense? This is a bottom 5 defense, Scott. We got 21 points. Come on.
Hey, you know what? Let's say that we're up 21-3. We give up a couple easy touchdowns towards the end. They kind of pull back, run the clock out. That's more of what I'm saying. I don't know. You make a good point. I will say this: we need to think about Laser as our offensive coordinator next year, and it's crazy to be here and think that question because for so long as like the offense is the problem, you got to start over. You got to get somebody new. But since Laser started calling plays, I know against the Packers we got a couple touchdowns that probably weren't supposed to be there, but it was 25 points against the Packers, 30 against the Lions, 36 against the Texans, and 33 against the Vikings. It's pretty mind-blowing. And I think they said that we are now up to like 22nd in scoring. And I mean, we've just really changed our offense in the last 3 weeks. And if we can do this 2 more weeks, win both these games and sneak into the playoffs, I guess, anything can happen and score points.
Yeah.
I will say this though, I didn't love that we gave up so many points to the Vikings on defense. When your offense is scoring every single play or every single drive, whether it's a touchdown or a field goal, you gotta slow down a few things here and there. And
Yeah.
in the second half, I know they did their job towards the end, and that's all we really need from them. But Kirk Cousins was lighting us up in that second half.
He was.
So
He was, and again, I mean, we don't know everything. You know, you and I both watch a significant amount of film, let's say, in the game, and so, you know, when you get a big lead, it seems like Pagano knows he's obviously going to play that to his strengths, and he's gonna back up and let you take the underneath stuff, and sometimes that's what an offense needs, you know, to just kind of get a rhythm and get going, and so. I think some of it is that our defense, you know, isn't elite this year, but also it's pretty good, not elite. And the also part is I just think the scheme when you're up, you just kind of play bend but don't break, keep them in front of me, and just let's dwindle this thing out. And so those numbers are inflated, but they're also predicated on the fact that, you know, the scheme and the approach at that point are willing to give up some points in order to ensure time. Times, you know, is not their friend. So. I don't know. I guess I would just really like to see us like step on someone's throat defensively and just really get after it a list. Now, you know, if you're down 2 score or you're up 2 scores with 2 minutes left, that's a whole different ball game. But that's not the case in the second half, or, you know, or I should say late in the first half. Man, let's just go out. We have nothing to lose. Go after and get these guys. They're not going to. Glennon's not going to beat you with his legs. Minshew's got a little juice with his legs, but the guy is inconsistent. He'll throw the ball into a crowd. You know, he's got a little Cutler in him, a little Cutler in him with his jean cropped off shorts hey, go. I'm kicking you out right here on live. Go. You just got live kicked. And so he isn't a great decision maker, and so you know, I think that's going to help us, but I would really like to see us just be aggressive all game, you know, until we need to play that style. And I'd like to wait a little bit longer. Really is the edited version that we're going to, you know, chop up here.
So what is
on the other hand, I'm going 33-13, 33-13 Bears. I think we continue the trend. We should. It's a bad defense, but you still got to show up. You still got to make plays. So that's my prediction.
I like it. I hope that's the score. I just ultimately I want to win. Maybe a Cardinals loss before we even play, and then that means if we can if we can beat the Packers last week of the season, then we are going to make the playoffs. That's just crazy to think how close it could be, especially after that Lions game debacle where that should have been it. It really everybody was calling for Nagy's head after that game and everyone to be gone, and you know, here we are. We still have a chance at this. So, all right.
Hey, last thing, real quick before you wrap up. Then this is the happy Christmas to the production team and Raji.
For sure.
I was in Hy-Vee yesterday, just kind of getting some groceries by myself. And a young man, former student of mine, asked how the pod channel was going because he's an avid fan and subscriber.
That's awesome.
So, you know, for me, you know, that meant everything. You know, just being out in public, getting noticed just for our channel and stuff, not a big deal. You know, I signed a box of Jell-O and we put it back on the shelf. But
yeah,
it was pretty sick. And happy holidays to you and your family, brother. And this has been a lot of fun doing it. So
yeah,
we'll see you before the new year, and I'll kind of transition into that. If we'd like to get Packer Fan 31 on here, aka the Crime Dog, avid Packer fan, we can, if everything falls in place, right? We beat the Jags, whether the Cardinals win or not. I think Week 17 could shape up to be, you know, one of the more promising, or I should say, like riveting Week 17s we've had in a while.
Yeah, and of course, if that happens, with us have a chance to get in the playoffs, it would be against the Packers.
Yeah. Kind of remind you of 2013 a little bit, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the more things change, the more they stay the same, as the saying goes. So, well, that's going to be it for us today. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone out there watching. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we will be back in 2021.
Woo.